Ready?
Thanks, bro. 9:24.
We're doing breaths? Nah, I don't even... I feel like I get too relaxed.
Just riff in. Let's go.
Hi guys, welcome back to this episode of Path of Purpose. We are here with the Brotherhood team, and just like you, we are walking on a journey to unlocking ways to live a life of purpose.
Let's get it. I bought my 16 passenger. This is G5. No, this not a
Today we're going to rip right into some questions that are going to be very open-ended and they're going to give some value. So we're going to begin with the Cass Man. He has got a few questions for us. What do we got, Cass Man?
All right. Which one to start on is the big thing. Is cancel culture killing real conversations? So cancel culture being the fact that people are really worried about what they've got to say. They're always trying to say the right thing. They're walking on eggshells to talk truly from the heart. What do you think?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how filtered it gets before it goes, before it actually makes it out there. Especially for like big people with big shows and big audiences where they actually are of influence and they can actually derive an outcome.
Yeah, you think of like even people in like the NRL and AFL interviews, and like some of them sometimes they seem so like they don't want to like just open up and talk, whereas you see like UFC fighters or something like that. I wonder if people in those sports like can't say too much. They don't want to piss off people, so they're just they're not, probably being them true selves, which is what, the world needs more people that are authentic, right? So
I think it also, like, people gravitate towards that naturally. Like, if you think, what would you rather watch, a football interview or a UFC fighting interview? Where people are actually talking truly, honestly, Same with, like, Joe Rogan. He's happy to talk about any subject. Yeah. It's the number one podcast.
Yeah, and you think of the good... Yeah, there's so many subjects that are, like, taboo or you don't talk about and stuff like that. And it's like, it's doing more harm than help because by talking about it, you bring awareness to it, and that's the first step in change.
Just like a little side note, like we sort of mentioned it on the other podcast and we had a little chuckle about it, but like the psilocybin and stuff like that. I was thinking about it the other day. I was sort of thinking, like, why do you not feel like you can openly talk about that?
Yeah, because it's like fucking illegal.
Yeah, but still, like,
I know what
but still, it's sort because it's illegal. But like, I'm just sort of thinking, my life's only gotten better since I've actually dabbled in that.
Same.
And I'm probably one of the most health conscious people that I would know of, along with you guys. So it's like, what's the? Is it just that the few ruin it for the many?
Yeah.
So people overcook it and then they... Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's the inception with it initially, because everyone first tries these things when their intention going into it is like, let's get fucked up. It's that whole a kind of escapism or, that kind of mentality or how... Because of like, let's get fucked up, it's like, and someone was saying the other day, it's like when you came back from the party or something like that, and if you couldn't remember the party, I must have had a good night, and someone was saying that, and I was like, I don't remember those days, but I think the intention now is like with plant medicine, like even calling it medicine, as in like, there to be experienced and utilized in a with a more positive vibration preferred to other alternatives. But yeah, I think it's definitely bringing that intention and maturity, because when at the start when you're first toying with these things, it's like it's also can be used in combination with alcohol and stuff like this, and they say what with green, or what is it, something before grass beer before grass and you're on your ass, and stuff like that. So
you got to be intentional with it, and like what you're saying of people not talking about it and it's like, if it's helped you and like you want to help humanity, it's like can be something that can be shared. But then like stuff like psychedelics, like I've done it and it's positively impacted my life, but I can see if you've done it too much or use it as a crutch, then it's no good. It's like, you definitely, when you get that stuff, like if you take a decent amount, you get the message, and you can escape to another world, but then it's like, yeah, your life is in reality, so it's like use the message and integrate it instead of like keep going back for the message rather than do what the message is giving you. So I think that's where people get lost in psychedelics. It's like they want to keep hearing the message. They're like, yeah, this is the way, but they're not actually going the way. They're just sort of like
repeating that
repeating
song.
like is it dope, like there's something with dopamine.
For
like
sure.
people like always say their goals, makes them feel good and stuff like that, but then it's like they aren't actually taking the steps. Like I know I've done that in my life, and it's like, yeah, it's a weird one like that, eh?
I think the big thing is like knowing exactly what you sort of said, Guy. It's like being intentional with everything you do, and not just that, but everything. I think you can overdo anything, and you know, if you're not intentional with why you're using it, then it is a crutch. I think.
100% relationship. Everything's a relationship. For sure.
And I think that can play on your mental health. That lead into the next question: are we over-diagnosing mental health?
I think so.
What did they just legalise the other day? Ritalin or something like that. ADHD, you can now just walk in and say, I've got ADHD, and they'll give you Ritalin or something like that. Is it in Australia or something like that? And it's like,
Maybe.
what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this, like, shouldn't, I swear 80% of the people you get in that consult room now, like, and I've had like people tell me that I've got ADHD. I'm not diagnosed yet, but like, and so like something that we just say is, man, we got it too. You know what I mean? And then suddenly it's just like, oh fuck, I'm not so special, or I'm not so.
It's not an excuse. I think it's probably a big thing. Like it's a spectrum, right? That's why they say that. But people, again, like just lazy culture will allow that to be an excuse to not do the things you need to do.
100%. Yeah, I think it becomes a crutch. Like people use, and the awareness of mental health is great. I think that there's more awareness of it, but for some people, I think it's like, it's become a crutch. It's become an excuse. They get too caught up in their feelings. They feel like they might have to be perfect to go do something. Like, I'm not feeling right, so I'm not going to go to the gym, or like I'm scared, like I don't want to be in public or whatever it is. Where it's like, actually, that's going to make you better over the long run. So I think it's becoming a very much, because of this awareness, then it's got this like more societal confirmation that it's okay to have mental health. So then people can sort of like sit in it rather than, and just identify as it, rather than actually like, I'm sure you don't want to be feeling bad mentally, but it becomes like that, the pain of, you get used to that pain that you always have, and like the pain of change or something unknown, doing something to get out of it's almost like harder than actually just being like depressed or whatever it is,
It's such a fine line between, not talking about your problems, but then also just dragging your feet and creating more.
Yeah,
I think.
for sure. Yeah. There's I think there's a huge pedestal on being happy all the time. It's like, I have to feel happy, otherwise if I'm not feeling happy, then I must be depressed.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we're not learned, I think this is why we exist as well. Like Brotherhood is like, learning to manage and regulate your emotions is probably something that we've like, I think it's stoic as fuck. I think it's like, that old school, that stoic philosophy, that old mindset of, hard times create hard men or whatever. And then, like, what was the one we were saying the other week as well about choose your pain or choose your
suffering.
Choose your suffering or whatever.
It's
like
coming either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like people these days it's because we've got so much comfort around us. It's like, so every moment we feel uncomfortable, it's judging it as like, oh shit, this is like new stuff. But it's like,
yeah. And it's like, if people are unhappy, then something's wrong.
Yeah.
But like, I think like if you're after, like a lot of our members and a lot of the people that probably listen to this, they're after growth, and that doesn't necessarily correlate with ultimate happiness all the time. There's like stuff I think it's like there's a difference between like happiness and like fulfillment. I think for me, I'd rather feel like fulfilled, and that doesn't mean being happy. Like I might be doing something really hard, and
Totally.
it's a bit of a fucking drag, but it's like I know this is helping me grow or helping the world or whatever it is. So it's like it's fulfilling like my soul. I guess.
That is a beautiful conversion, I reckon. It's like I said, it's like instead of pedestaling happiness, pedestal fulfillment. Like that would actually be a better thing to chase, because then even in the fulfillment you are happier and encountering the harder stuff that's less happy.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah.
I think that's just knowing, and again, like path to purpose, right?
Yeah.
It's like fulfillment of being on your path to purpose.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
just generally, like, I don't know, we're so quick to get bored nowadays. So I think when people aren't just super happy, they feel like they're depressed as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like just be okay being okay.
Yeah, and
You don't have to be going super
we're
well.
so stimulated these days, and it's like if you do go sit by yourself or go for a walk, you know, you de-stimulated, and it's like you might not feel excited or like that, but it's like that's probably like a cycle or come down. If you're stimulated, you know, you're at work or you're doing calls on your phone or something like that, and then you go for a little walk in nature or whatever, it's like you're gonna be a lot probably calmer and stuff, and you might not be like fucking real joyful and that, but it's realising that as well there's nothing wrong with that, you know. There's nothing wrong with not feeling happy.
I remembered the quote that I was trying to think of that was the start one. Like, I think this would probably be the most, and I don't know who says it, but this too shall pass. I don't know who says that, but
Aristotle.
is it Aristotle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah.
I was wondering if it was Marcus Aurelius or
Probably one of them.
Yeah,
ancients.
but I think that's great though, because it's like in that moment, it's just like you're giving yourself permission that this sucks right now, but on the other, like once I get through this, fucking better, good times are on the horizon.
Yeah, it's like that attachment thing, being able to like detach and let go of, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, like not getting too caught up.
Yeah, totally. Even on the upside of that to happiness, it's like, oh yeah, this too shall pass. So maybe it allows you to enjoy it more in the moment, but then understanding it's like, oh yeah, it's probably not sustainable to feel this fucking high all the time. Like, the rise and the fall.
That's what I always talk about in my fight camps. I know I've spoken to you guys about it. I think the episode that we didn't put out, just like keeping your emotions really level. There's one there. Anyway, let's move on. So, next question. We just spoke about it briefly before the pod, but is the body positivity movement hurting people's health?
Ooh.
What do we think?
Yeah, like if you're allowing yourself to be fat, we know that that's got a negative impact on your health. And if you're being okay with it, like I get like some people are genetically some people are genetically more dispositioned to be larger for sure and hold a bit more fat. I think there's some genetics in there for sure. Like some people are more suitable to be lean as, but I think using it as a crutch to be unhealthy, that's leading to like unhealthy people.
Yeah, bro.
So
you've
got something fired up in
Yeah.
the chamber.
Yeah.
So I just think
Just me looking at
you see a lot on social media where they're sort of saying that it's not, the only thing that matters with their health, and that's true. I think these people that are sort of like really big on the body positivity sort of thing. But I think if that becomes your whole personality, then you probably know you're not the most healthy bodily person, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I think ignoring the fact that that's a key indicator of health
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
like foolish, to be honest.
The science is out there for sure. So it's
And I'm talking about people that are quite clearly obese. Like, there is a big part of your general health that needs to be you're happy with who you are.
yeah. Maybe there's just like a spectrum happening because there's this like body dysmorphia where people
Correct,
feel like
yeah.
they got to be fucking fit and ripped and look like the person on Instagram and stuff like that. And then maybe naturally the pendulum has swung to like, hey, it's okay to be fat ass or like whatever it is, And then like, I kind of felt what I was to say. But
No,
like,
that's yeah.
but like, I don't know, and But like I feel like it'll come, like maybe it'll come back to balance. You know, sometimes things need to go to extreme, and over the long run, like people become healthier. But yeah, I don't think it's a good thing. I haven't really looked too much into it, but on the online space,
There's some online that are just outrageous. Yeah.
Is there like
but
just fucking McDonald's and
just like and I think
couple of pics.
as we've spoken about already, like balance is a big part of it. But yeah, you got to take.
I just think it's funny how it's like linked into your first one about like cancel culture. You know what I mean? Because even you, when you first took lead and you said the word fat, and then it's like, oh fuck, am I allowed to say the word fat? Like, am I allowed to call someone fat? It's like when we do our body scans and it comes up with skeletal muscle mass, your body fat percentage, and then the one right in the middle, fat, and it's like, yeah, that's an indication of obesity. And you know, it's funny how we get all PC and we want to, you know, tiptoe around it and stuff, and it's like, no, you're fat, you're overweight. But like, it's just it's kind of like it's the way that it comes with the tonality.
Yeah, it's how you say it. You don't want to be teasing someone.
Like, I think like, maybe overweight. Like, hey, yeah, you are a bit overweight. Like, we're gonna have to reduce some fat, you know. But rather than going, hey, you're fat.
Well, some people, like, the truth can hurt, but like, I might have said like, fat, like that, you know, just mess around. But it's like, you know, at the end of the day, there's probably a reason why they're fat, and it's probably something mentally. So it's like you want to be kind to them,
and
like,
emotional.
Yeah, emotional. So it's like there's no point if someone's fat to like tease them or anything like that. It's like, how can you help this person?
Totally.
Because there's obviously, you know, might be something genetic, or it could be a multiple reason of factors. So that's like where compassion comes in as well. So it's like you do want to treat them nice, but you also want to wake them up to the truth, because it's like, hey, if you don't get your health down pat, you know, you're gonna like things are not going to be good around you, within you. You know, you're more likely to die earlier. Like it's sometimes people need to be woken up to the truth and maybe have a mirror shone on what they're doing, and that can hurt.
Yeah, the delivery is super important, hey, because it's like, what is the most like caring, compassionate, kind? What is the most kind thing that is gonna? And like you said, it's like, hey, like, yeah, you know, you are a bit overweight. We definitely have to do some things. There are some side effects and some consequences to having your health in this way, where, you know, it is compressing your spine now, and your posture's getting all out of whack. Your hips are disjointed, you know. Your knees can't support that weight. Like your spine, you know. I saw a photo before of like an ordinary skeleton. Like the skeleton doesn't get any bigger. It's, you know, so for it to accommodate organs that have to try and pump blood to move through all this hypertension with all, you know, around fat and stuff like that, it's like, it's cardiac fucking, it's deregulation. So it's but yeah, to deliver it with like, hey, yeah, that, as you say, that seriousness of like, we've got to do something about this, but like, we're really here to help support you through this journey and stuff, and giving it that positive intention behind that's what's going to get someone through. Because what may have got someone fat for a starters is being told, hey, you fat, and then like that's just going to get them down. It's like, why would they try and, you know, there is like that intrinsic.
There is a push and pull. Like what makes people change is there's pain, and then there's like a greater purpose as well. So like, you know, being fat, like they might, hey, you might have kids that, you know, and grandkids you want to play with and you want to be fit with and be able to do stuff. And then there's the pain of not being able to do that. So like there's that push and pull of like, hey, there's pain where it's going to affect your life and your health and the people around you. And then the purpose of like, maybe what does it feel like to be fit and healthy? Like how you going to, like how much better is your quality of life going to be? So
the hardest clients I've worked with in this regard is like people that identify as fat.
Yeah.
Like maybe their family is or whatever, and they just sort of don't feel like they're worthy of being anything else.
Yeah.
On the flip side, completely sort of same subject, but bodybuilding culture. How do we feel about, you know, someone that wants to be, I guess, wants a competitive bodybuilding rig, but isn't a competitive bodybuilder? Like, is there too much muscle? What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think bodybuilding gets a lot of people into health and fitness, which can be great. It's like a gateway, I reckon. But like you do see a lot of injuries, and then if you stick with the bodybuilding, the dysmorphia, and like the fact that actual lifestyle of a bodybuilder is not healthy. You know, a lot of them, like getting up on stage, you're your most unhealthiest on stage, but you look your best. Like they shouldn't be correlated, I don't think, you know. Like it's a sport, you know, it's different to health, but it can be a gateway to get into health, which is cool. But yeah, I think the body should be, you know, sometimes you got to isolate muscles because there's weaknesses there, and yeah, you do want to look strong and healthy, but I think using the body as a system, like, and, you know, functional movement, like using the whole body to making sure, like, yeah, use that in movements is going to be beneficial just for your health and everyday life.
I think that's where the image issues come from, like you said, like they're on the stage looking awesome, feeling the worst. Same with like fighting, you weigh in, you'd feel terrible. You weigh that weight for 20 minutes and then you're back up to your normal weight. So like, yeah, it creates a slippery slope for people that don't understand the sport and see those people on stage.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an element of like appreciation for those people that do that, because it's like an impressive amount of discipline that they've had to do, you know, a lot that they've had to take out of their life, and all credit to them. I personally don't think it looks attractive. Like, I'm not looking at them people going, fuck, I wish I had that physique or whatever, you know, because I'm just like, God, that's too far gone. Like, it's immobile, doesn't seem practical.
Yeah.
Fucking, you know, I can barely move my shoulder, arm over my shoulder or something like that. And I do see a lot of couples like in the body, you know, like that, because I'm like, I wonder what their partner looks like or something like that. And it turns out a lot, I don't know, I see a lot, it's like they just attract bodybuilder partners as well. And how great that they've got that support along that journey. Yeah. And they're obviously doing it together.
And each to their own as well.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, I just think it's kind of epitomised as like, oh, that's the goal. That's the ultimate physique, right? And so everyone's like probably getting in there, pumping on, trying to look that way. And it's for everyone to encounter and learn their own lesson with as well. But I'd say in terms of longevity and like getting the most out of your body would be, you look at Ronnie Coleman now, the guy can barely walk. You know? And he's only just probably pushed 70 or something like that now. But, you know, that's the price you pay. You know, you might have this elite start to your life where it's like putting medals around your neck and stuff like that, and it's all well and good, but then later on you're going to pay the price, eh? Yeah. And I think it's like, it's made out to be like everyone can get to that sort of standard or that degree of bodybuilding or something like that, but it's probably not.
Well, they sacrifice their whole life.
Yeah.
Like just, you know, to look like, especially the elites.
Well, I think this is the same with like the fat, you know, it's like, I think what's the emotion behind it? Like is there an element of suppression to even go into those things? It's like, is it trying to prove something? Did my dad not love me, or did I not receive love from mum or something like this in order, I've got to prove myself now, I'm going to be this competitive warrior or something like that? Or in the other pendulum, as you say, it swings the other way with like being fat. It's like, was I abused or told I was, you know, I wouldn't amount to anything. They're trying to confirm
maybe things that they've been told or...
Totally. So, and because I know that like all emotion stores in the body, and so it's like, that's why these patterns play out within our behaviours in life, and it's... So I don't know, it's fucking... But that should be a first and foremost question before diving into anything, I think, because it's like, why are you actually doing this? And a lot of people would say, oh, I just want to look good. Why do you want to look good?
Yeah, the intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes down to those intentions again, like why, and is that intention serving you? You know, those around you, for sure. Like, yeah, have you got another one? Yeah.
I mean, we sort of spoke about how much discipline that would take, and these kind of lead into that. What standard are you silently tolerating right now that's holding you back? Is there anything that you boys believe that we have happening, or you have happening, that,
It's holding you back.
and it could be something that you don't even recognise. I guess that's the hardest part with it.
Do you want to go first? I might say, like, for myself, probably just some, like, boundaries, I think, to get to the next level. Like, boundaries that I need to put within myself and when I do certain things and what I do, and not be so complacent. Yeah, sometimes just being probably a bit complacent and not intentional enough as well with what I'm doing, and like, hey, I'm doing this now, like, put all your energy into it, you know, and be more intentional with how I live my life, and having boundaries set in place to keep my energy strong, you know. So
that kind of sparks mine. Mine would be going from one thing straight into the next. So as you guys know, I'm quite busy. I go from my PT straight in my training, instead of giving myself like a buffer of 10, 20 minutes to do some breath work, get in the zone, all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
So that's just like, I'm making that choice. I go into training sometimes not fully present because I've chosen to have my diary that way.
yeah. So you like finish your PT and then you're straight into
Literally
training.
straight on the pads or whatever.
You want to like have an intentional moments before you do training.
Yeah, I think so.
What does that like give you, or what? How will that benefit?
It'll allow me to exactly that, set my intention into what I want to work on during training. Allow me to calm my nervous system back down, get myself back into, you know, oh, okay, it's my time now instead of coaching, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's epic.
that's what I'm thinking. That sort of just sparked in my mind then, but I'm going to try and block out some time for myself.
I was actually listening to the Sean O'Malley and Israel Adesanya. Did you listen to that? Did you hear Sean talk about it?
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
That's that like setting an intention. Like, he has an intention for his workout. You know, for your workout, you go in with an intention or whatever it is, like, which is cool as, I reckon. And going in, you're going to go in way more focused, way more present. And if you're way more focused and way more present, you're going to do a lot better. You're going to be more fulfilled because you're going to be in the moment, and you're also going to get better results. Which is, that's cool that you took that out of that, for sure.
Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance.
How about you, Guyzy? What's
mine was sharpen the axe or sharpen the sword, I reckon. There was a story that this guy, Ash, that went to Ash's 30th on the weekend, and then lucky to sit opposite this guy who was just like, had some great perspectives and insight for me. But Ash shared a story about, because I told him about how I booked flights to Bali, and then so they're leaving in a couple of weeks' time, and Ash recited this story that this guy had told Ash, and it was, there's two guys, they both chop wood, they're out there chopping wood, splitting firewood each day, and they both start at 9 and they both finish at 5. And one guy consistently keeps going out throughout the day. He doesn't even take lunch. The other guy stops between 11 and 1, so he has a 2-hour break to go home, have a bit of tucker and stuff like that, be with his family. And then he comes back and gets back into it. And then eventually one day, this guy with the other guy was fed up, and he's like, "Mate, what's the deal? You come back here, we work, you have 2 hours off, I'm here the whole thing, and we split the same amount of wood." It's like, "What are you doing when you're going home?" He goes, "Mate, I go home, I have some lunch, spend some time with the family, and I sharpen the axe." And then it's, I just think that's such a good
it's so good
story to sort of, we can be so, and I have been like so focused on the do that it hasn't even taken time to. And that's where I was saying the other week on like force and flow. Like, I feel like I've been in a bit of a forceful state trying to make things happen, that I haven't allowed for much flow or like for things to come through. And even just sitting with him, and he's like kind of flipped my perspective on what's the best thing to go about here in terms of, is it to be so tight to this, we have to hit this 150 kind of number, or is it, geez, do we even expand beyond that now, or what's going to bring the most value, or all these different sort of things? It's like, maybe I have just been so narrow in my goal of like, hey, this is the only goal. It's like, hey, there's probably far greater options or, you know, opportunities that are out there that are far beyond what the narrow sort of my scope has been. It's like, it's very good to have focus and have a goal. But then because I've just been seeing that as the point, I haven't actually seen like what's beyond it. And yeah, so just being a bit more open, gonna give myself some time to sharpen the axe in Bali and solo adventures. So yeah, that's gonna be good.
Couple of weeks, or what is it? 10 days probably. Actually,
I think it's more. It was like 14 because it's.
Oh, no, like you leave in 10 days.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's exciting.
It's exciting. That'll come around fast. But yeah, really excited for that.
That's epic. I might get into one of my questions, seeing as we're on like the mindset stuff. It is, what is your inner dialogue when you're under pressure? When you have to perform under pressure, what is your inner dialogue doing?
Fuck, that's a good question to ask yourself, hey?
Gas man, but surely you'd have some link to fighting, for sure.
Yeah, so I think something that helps me perform is being just so process driven in those moments. So when I'm under pressure, I'm like, instead of getting overwhelmed with everything, I just zone in on that one thing that's next.
So like like if we're doing it to fighting, is it like
Yes.
the next punch or the next sequence?
So literally before I get in the ring, like obviously that whole lead in can be overwhelming. You got everyone screaming at you. You've got certain processes that you got to like get through before you even start the fight. Yeah. So like, yeah. So I'm thinking about like, okay, what's next? Wait for the music to play. Walk out. Like all of these different things that I've got sort of processes for, which I think allows me to not get overwhelmed with the fact that I'm about to be in a fight.
What are your processes for them?
As far as like getting in the ring?
Yeah, like going through those different stages. Like, what are your processes to stay in the moment, I guess?
I think just thinking about doing, like, even though they sound so mundane and so stupid, it's like, do that thing really well.
Okay. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, walk out really well. I try to wave to as many of my friends and family as I can on the way out. I'm trying to, like, be as present as I can in that moment. And then that just takes my mind away from what's next. And then just knowing that you've already done that preparation.
Yeah. Like, this guy's about to be throwing bombs at me.
Yeah. And then even in the fight, I'm thinking about one exchange at a time.
Yeah.
It's not like, otherwise you get overwhelmed. You're in there for 15 minutes with someone else. It's like,
that's great, because people can relate that. Say if you've got heaps of tasks to do throughout the day, like focus on that task only, one, like the process, like one. It's good how you can just relate that to like some other things and for people in everyday life.
A big thing for a fighter as well, like the main thing, like it constantly comes up where you're like, oh, I could get knocked out in front of everyone. So I think being able to combat those thoughts, like as far as internal dialogue goes, it's like automatically shifting that as fast as you can to a positive thought. It's just a super like powerful tool.
So you try not to dwell on it?
Yeah, I'll just try not to like, nah, not going to happen, I'm going to do this. Like, what's the counter to that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to get caught with a big right hand. It's like, no, I'm not. I keep my hands up. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Instead of just, oh, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, and then it happens. It's like you've been basically manifesting that.
There's such a difference between like having foresight for something and then being anxious about predicting something that hasn't happened. I don't know. You know, anxiety comes from thinking too much in the future. Depression comes from focusing too much on the past.
Yeah.
So you know, the safest place to be is in the present moment. And so where you're at with your fighting is in each and every moment of your stages that you're presenting throughout the fight. It's like just trying to be right where you are and right where your feet are it seems like the best place to be. Except obviously you're like, you know, if I guess you've got to react in the moment though, don't you? You know, with what comes at you.
But they're all automatic sort of things. So like, and that's sort of what I was talking about. for the couple days really mainly, but like the whole fight camp, you're thinking about the what ifs the whole time, which then gives you like mental practice on, well, no, I do that. Well, no, I do that. So I think if someone's got like a business meeting they're worried about it going wrong, it's like, okay, what are you worried about? What's the thing that stops it from happening? And then you're just constantly sharpening your axe. So.
Yeah, you do address it. It's not like you ignore it. You address it and then combat it with a positive thought kind of thing.
Combat it with the process that stops it from happening.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's my mind usually. Like I said, I drew the line in the sand this morning, so fight camp's on, so now the thoughts will start to...
Oh, is that the line, like, into fight camp
Pretty
now?
much, yeah.
That's a good line.
A little bit of leniency this week.
Yeah.
This just reminded me, I don't know, the same guy that I was opposite at Ashes, his name's Andrew, by the way.
Shout out Andrew.
Top dog. And, but he was saying, I don't know how this links, just but with the whole theme of this podcast and everything, and he was saying, man, I don't care what it costs me to invest in my health. He's like, he was just someone like that, you know what I mean? He's like, for me to not have my mind as sharp as a tack, for me to not have my body feeling amazing so that I can perform, to not have it so it's competent, capable and able to come back to my family and you know, cook dinner and support my wife and blah, blah, blah. It's like the cost for me to not be in that mindset and that frame of mind is, dude, you know, like he pays $500 a week at his gym. Cause he's,
a week?
Yeah.
What is
he does 2 PT sessions and he's got the membership with all the red light stuff and all the stuff. So, you know what I mean? He's on though. You know what I mean? Like that's obviously what it's valued for him.
Yeah, that investing in your health.
Yeah.
Like, it's huge.
Yeah.
To help out.
But it obviously shows. He's like, man, when I'm doing that, yeah, I make more money. You know what I mean? It's like it was so nice for me to hear because it's like, oh yeah, like here's a man who's successful, doing really well, and it's like yet again just reinforcing the fact of why it's so important to do these things. And it's because if you're a man that wants to give the most to the world, then you better be giving the most to yourself.
Yeah, well, like you're gonna have more energy in that when you take care of your health, and then more to put into your work and give to the world.
It's really all that matters, though. Like, if your work's going well and you're not, it's like, is your work going well?
Totally.
Yeah, true.
And that's like there's another saying. I'm probably gonna butcher this, but I'll try. The only true test of you being intelligent is if you enjoy your life.
Yeah.
So you could be super book smart.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're so intelligent, but you don't even enjoy it. You're not intelligent enough to be able to enjoy yourself.
Yeah. It's like, what else are you doing here? Like, this time on Earth is valuable.
And sure. Enjoy the quality of your life.
You're trying to, anyway.
Yeah. The pressure one, for myself, like, I used it in sport and stuff like that, and I don't know, I love those feelings of pressure sometimes because it's like I've fucked them up as well and they suck, but like you grow but for me it's like almost like slowing down time. Like I try to slow down time, like slow my mind, so I'll be focused on my breath. Look at it intently. But like I'll be like I'll focus on my breathing. I'll try and slow everything down. That it's like only this moment matters. Like I don't want to think of anything else outside of it. It's all like exactly this moment. And I think like, you know, just different scenarios in my life that have had pressure and I've done well. It's slowing it down, and a lot of that is the breath. So like slowing the breath down. Yeah. You know, as simple as that is, it's just like if I'm like shallow breathing and all that, my mind's going to be a bit panicky. But if I'm breathing deep, slowing it down, almost sometimes making the moment like a little bit more insignificant, like thinking like, fuck, the world's so big. I know this is very important for me or whoever it is, but it's like, at the end of the day, you know, life, you're here for a speck of time. You know, it's like, do your best. You know, what will happen, you know. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I find under pressure slowing myself down, and that's often guided if I just consciously breathe, like probably just even focusing on my breath, and then I realize, but when I focus on my breath, it automatically slows down.
You're more likely to make mistakes or put a foot wrong when you're under pressure or you're in a high stress state, you know what I mean? Or you're trying to move too fast. That's where you make mistakes. And nothing's really worth getting in a stressful state over, because we did our blood test the other week and Coxie and I's cortisol was, low in comparison to some of the other guys. And it's like, we just started our day with a bit of breath work and meditation, and it's like, they were sitting around 200, which is a good amount. And that my cortisol would have stayed at that throughout the day. Might have spiked a little bit, like not much though. But for me to be in that state of calmness and clarity throughout, and that was my mantra last week, was clear and under control. And it was and it played out so many times in my week. And I was just like, I had a really productive day at work, like, I was just able to manage things and like just allowed my state to stay there, and I was really effective there. And yeah, I think that, nothing is worth getting too stressed about. And I think the only time you get too stressed about it is through fear of the future. I think that's the anxiety. That's where cortisol comes from. It's like cortisol will push you into those states where you do drive some immediate action, but if it's not necessary, then fucking don't waste your time on it.
And that's those tools of getting into the present, like,
yeah,
all the practices and stuff like that.
For sure.
I think that growth mindset is the biggest part in, I guess, dealing with pressure. Like you said, like, it might not matter as much as you think, and if you fail forward. I think you just sort of...
That's a great one.
It's like win and lesson, There's no losses. It's just like, this is the next stage of my life. This is what I have to deal with now that I've maybe felt like I've ruined that moment or whatever,
Yeah. I got a good question, and it might be quite just up and up. It's going to be a good question, but like it might be like humanizing and for people to hear and they could get some value out of it. But it's like, what pattern in your past did you have to break, like that wasn't serving you, a pattern, and how did you break it?
I know mine instantly.
Hit it.
And I think maybe we've spoken on this before, but I fully fell into the class clown, like, to earn appreciation or respect or to fit in. I fully dropped into the clown archetype and was the the fool in class, said dumb things, got a reputation for being that guy, and then and it's funny because even I played guitar, I liked art, and I played soccer when I went to Christchurch Boys High, and those were like three, those are artsy things. It's like, hell nah, don't do that shit. I was pretty good at all three, but then in order for me, I realised when I was at the hostel in year 10 or whatever, it's like, which is my second year at high school, I realised those three things aren't going to get me in the cool club, and so I dropped them all, and then so I went into rugby and stuff like this, and because I wanted to be mates with those guys, because the jocks were, they were the cool guys. And so in my attempt to make it into that group, which I did, but, I sacrificed a piece of my identity in there, like, of who I was and what I really kind of was passionate about or enjoyed. And once I got that archetype, once I got that of, like, playing the fool to earn my stripes or whatever, fuck me, man, I couldn't get out of it. Like, I was just like, I remember even around girls and stuff, and when they'd be like, oh, bud, do the thing or something like this, and like, it was kind of like I was the joke, like, because I'd made that for myself, like I was the joke, and then and then I realized, shit, man, like, I'm just like stuck in this mentality of like, I can't escape this. Anything I do, it comes back as like, oh, blah blah blah, and So eventually what I did to get out of it, man, is just like, I realised like, shit, I'm stuck in this. Like I can't actually get out of this. This is going to be my story so long as this is my friend group. You know, because that's what I wanted. I made that my friend group.
Yeah.
And then I realised I had to get out of it. So then I moved to Australia, went and worked at a bar after uni and formalised my own identity. And people, I've said this before, I think, where people said, you know, I may have changed, but I really just became more of who I was. And that was freeing, you know, because then I was able to, from that platform of no longer being the idiot or the joke or the dumb guy or whatever, I was then able to tell myself, yeah, I am smart, I am talented, I am good at these things, blah, blah, blah. And from that, I was able to show the best of myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than
the power of
dragged down.
your environment as well. So just move. That is so powerful in moving, because where you grow up, you do form these identities, and man, they are hard to break. And often the way to break that is
separation.
You got to go somewhere, separate something. You know, moving is powerful for that.
I think so many people like endorse that from like that independence, like to really find that identity as well as, you know, I know heaps of people advocate for, you know, leave home as soon as you can kind of thing. Well, you know, to a degree, but I think like you said, you know, pressure makes diamonds and stuff. And so if you put yourself under more pressure to make something happen, like in the reflection of this place is like when we took this place on, hell no, we didn't have the finances to back it, so we had to make it, you know, and we had to put ourselves under that pressure to grow to our circumstances, you know, and meet them there. And so that's been my history with it, is like every time like, hey, grow to meet that next thing.
You got to.
I feel that's coming up for us again now. It's like, hey, we've actually got to put ourselves under a bit of a stretch. To allocate for that next piece of growth. But anyway, that was...
Mine would be pretty similar, I guess, but on a different front. In regards to, I guess, not the class clan, it was more about, like, being overly disciplined. Which, I mean, I'm still learning and still working on that. But Dad was a really good footballer. My oldest brother was a really good footballer. And then the middle brother was also a really good footballer. And I had what felt like so much pressure to perform. Just basically my whole childhood was like, I almost put my worth on how well I played my footy. And then that's probably something that I'm still working through in performances. But having people like Lily and, you know, you guys and good people around me allows me to, I guess, take the pressure off any outcome and allow me to know that I'm loved regardless. That's probably mine, I think. So, like, I remember being a kid, like, too young to be doing this, but, like, I did so many push-ups in my room that both my elbows were cooked. Like, I was just a nutcase, but I guess it made me who I am. But
I
reckon there'd be a lot of people that would relate with that. I know Coxie speaks on that as well, because, you know, everyone had him to be super successful leaving school, you know what I mean? And then, and this is probably his own story to tell, and we'll get him on here at some point, but I know that there was this big pedestal that he had to amount to of like people putting pressure on him to be like, oh, you're going to be successful, you're going to be, and then when he's going in, he's getting a job, you know, and all the corporate things, get the university degree and goes in all these things, and then realises like, fuck, man, like, is this what you were meaning by the, like, I was going to be super, super successful? Because I don't feel it. And so now he's gone out and he's got the Soul Ray company going, and, you know, with his partner Alex, and then doing the chili bin on the weekends and stuff. And now he's like, oh, now I see what they could see in me. I was just in the wrong avenue. And it's like, that's the avenue that everyone's trying to steer you down is, you know,
out of school, sort of go to uni,
totally,
work for someone else,
and, get the corporate job or whatever. But anyway, so I think there's a lot of people that suffer from that expectation.
I think it's like, that's a blessing and a curse. I think, like,
double-edged sword.
Yeah, and I think the more that I've kind of split my focus into other areas has taught me that I'm not just one thing as well.
Yeah.
Like, I've always just, like, I guess, wanted to be an athlete. That was what I was destined to be.
Yeah.
So then when I wasn't that, or I was injured, or whatever, it was like, what am I? What
You lose your identity. You're much more than that. And yeah, it's just self-worth. Anyone's self-worth is reliant on their performance, you know. Like, I feel like, you want to perform well in that, but it's like, if you think that means that you're only worthy of love or you're only worthy of whatever because you performed well, like, that's a recipe for disaster.
For love, eh?
And it's, I hear what you're saying for sure. I mean, you can tap into, like, having people around you that show you, you know, your partner, and having friends and people around that are like, hey, mate, like, we love that you can do that or whatever, but it's like, that's not what we love you for. It's like how you perform. It's like who the person is, you know, who they are and how they show up. Like, it's not, what's that saying? It's like not what you do. It's like, I don't know, who you are or something.
How you do it, I think, is a big thing. Like, all the, like, whenever I've had a loss or whatever, it's sort of, how well can I lose, if that makes sense? How well can I show people that I can learn from this? How well can I be still respectful in that moment? How well can I thank everyone for coming to support me? Like, all those sort of things.
Yeah. I think, in life, like, there's these high moments and then there's these low moments. And I think everyone's ability to navigate the low moments, like, because they're going to happen in life. That's a, like, true test of character, I feel like. 'Cause it's like, life's going to be up, there's going to be down times, but it's like, that's when you're like, all right, these are how can I navigate this to, you know, ride that wave again? And then
that's where all the best stories come from as well. You know, that's what inspires people. It's like, fuck, this guy went through all this. And now look at where he is. Like, he managed to ride that out. Yeah. Something I think you were trying to get at there is, like, apparently when you die or something, people don't give a fuck about what you did. Or they don't remember you from what you did. They remember you by the way you made them feel.
That's it. 100%. That's 100% it.
Have we got your answer?
My answer. So mine's, I remember this was real vulnerable for me, and I actually wrote about it on, like, a Substack, but mine was like, I used to probably have, like, a bit self-diagnosed OCD, for sure. Like, remember as a kid touching each part of the fence and, you know, certain things before sport even at times, but it used to be like things had to be a certain way or something bad was going to happen to someone else, like family member or something like that, or myself. Like, so it was like these super bad thoughts coming in. It's like, fuck, if I don't do that, like, and it was completely irrational, you know, and it was kind of scary. It didn't, like, I remember going through it and it fucking did not make me feel good, you know, like having these irrational thoughts that I just couldn't drop. And I had to do things, and I would do them, and, like, the thought would go away, but then it would come back. So I just realised, and it was probably a lot of my work into self-development and, like, reading some books. I realised, like, if I do that thing, that instant, touch that fence, I'm just, you know, establishing that habit and that thought loop that comes with that habit, and it goes away. But how I got through it was honestly, like, probably just through the present moment, becoming more present. I think when those thoughts come up, I just started accepting them and sitting with that fucking shitty feeling of all those bad thoughts and not reacting to them. And fuck, that was, like, hard. Like, when I was going through it, I was like, fuck, like, I want to react a certain way out of this OCD thing. And, but realizing this too shall pass, and those feel, and then I remember, like, doing it, and then the feeling would dissolve, and then I'd build confidence as well, because it's like, hey, I didn't give in to that, and then I started to, like, build confidence within myself, because it's like, hey, like, I'm still getting these triggers that come up, but, like, I've sort of just understood them, felt the emotion, not reacted in the way that I know will get rid of it, but it's like an escapism and a bad thing, and then getting through it. So it was basically through acceptance that, like, I remember Alan Watts has a quote, like, there's no wrong feelings. Like, there's no wrong feelings. Like, whatever you're feeling, it's completely normal. Acceptance, and then just seeing, like, bit more logical thinking, just being like, hey, this this is irrational, you know, not battling myself and being like, you're stupid for even thinking that. Like, I used to do that as well, sort of like think, oh, I'm stupid for having those thoughts or whatever it was. But then I sort of just got, tried to make the dialogue a bit more friendly, and then realised, like, through acceptance and, moving on, and then, you got through it. And I remember it went through levels, like, you know, new levels, new devils, and, like, different things, and it can still come up. It's like every now and then, if I'm, like, really tired, certain things come up, but navigating it, finding a way to navigate it, and that's built like super confidence within myself as well, to be like, to overcome certain like OCD traits like that. And I think certain aspects of OCD can be utilised for sure, and it can be a superpower if it's used the right way, but it's like got to be kind of rational and logical use, or it's got to have you got to use it in a better outcome, not an outcome where it's like destroying you. Yeah. So that's how I broke it for sure.
Just trying to look into this too shall pass quote as well.
Aristotle.
No, they said there was one saying in there. I've got to look more into it.
Guy Anderson, 2025. Beautiful, lads. That's probably
that's probably a good EP to wrap up there. But good to jump back on the mics, and we've taken it into our own hands here. I think we've done well.
Yeah, done well.
Yeah. Any touches of wisdom or any guidance that you'd like to leave the audience with as they go about their week that maybe is present for you, each of you, at the moment?
I'm going to say the big thing I took out of the pod was for me to be more intentional, and I think everyone can kind of do that. Even if you are pretty intentional with what you do, I think we can always double down on that. So
100%. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah. For myself, it's along the lines of something like inner dialogue, sort of be your own friend. Look, act as yourself is like you're trying to help a friend, you know? So like if you're going through something or if you're trying to do something, it's like, how can you support yourself in that? And
as if you're supporting a friend.
Yeah, as if you're supporting a friend.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, that's I think it's like be your own best friend or something. My mantra this week was urgency, and I just think it's just funny because we spoke about when you're in a stressful state, you'll make wrong decision, you know, or you'll make a mistake. So maybe intentional urgency.
Yeah, or I was even thinking maybe like, is agency a better word? Like, 'cause depends how like if you're intentional urgency, but like it can promote maybe that stressful state, but it's like your intention with what that word means to you, I guess. You know, like agencies like feel like similar maybe, like it's like be proactive in what you're doing and like make it happen rather than just being like oh, this is urgent, you know. It's like how you go about it, like you know, it's your relationship with it at the end of the day.
Totally. And I put that in my for my mindset. I said be proactive, because it's like, that's what I want to do. Is like it's if I can remind myself, it's like, hey, I've only got 2 weeks left here. 10 days, you're reminding me now, and it's like, okay, well, with that in mind, it's like, okay, shit's not going to do itself, kind of thing. But I've noticed since I made that decision to do Bali, like, my mindset has had to switch into a thing where things have to happen, and I have to be responsible and accountable for that. So, but it's given me a nice target. It's given me a nice sort of thing to work for or work towards, because it's like, because then I get time off, or I get, celebrate. I get to celebrate, So, it's been nice to have that little deadline of that to create the urgency. So, I've found that I've been way more productive, and like even last week with the cortisol, doing the blood test and stuff, but realising my cortisol low and having a really productive day, I'm like, reminder, make sure I look after my, stress levels at the start, because it'll carry and it will set me up to actually have a better day. So taking the time to meditate in the morning was was powerful for
So
that.
cool heads prevail.
Cool heads prevail, brother.
Nice work, team.
Nice
Thank
work,
you all
brothers.
for
Nice, lads.
listening. Hope you could resonate, find some value, and leave a comment, leave a like,
Subscribe.
subscribe. It's very appreciated, and it helps support us and helps support the mission.
That's it.
Don't be afraid to click that little like button, leave a comment. Enjoy the
Rest of
it
your
all.
week.
Enjoy the rest of the week. Thanks.
Ciao.